Hello! Hello. Welcome to All Directions Look Back.
Yes, welcome.
Shall we give them a quick rundown of what this is?
Yeah, why not?
If I can
You're
keep
right.
it on the start menu. Which games tend to not do for some reason.
Nah, I would like them to, especially for this kind of thing that we're doing, it would be better. It would be much nicer if you just stay on the start menu, please. Thank you.
In any case, welcome to All Directions Look Back, where we look back at semi-older games.
I would classify them as older games.
Yeah, about PS2 era for the time
PS2
being.
era for now.
Yeah.
We might go further back. We might not go as far back. So we'll wait and see. So I don't have pretty much any experience with this game whatsoever.
No.
So maybe after this hereby bit of cutscene, you can let one know a bit about the game.
I will try.
Calling all orbital frames. To complete this mission, you are expected to make whatever sacrifices are necessary. You go in through the skylight / night ray.
I'll carry out diversionary tactics.
After that, you will confirm target Bravo is secure.
Roger.
Foraging through the garbage. Enders, all of you. It's all Leo's fault. He made us come here.
I've taken control of Sector 03 by driving away the flies that scourge our Earth. Still no reaction from target Bravo.
I've managed to get inside the main shaft. Don't forget, BioWare. The target is still alive. You are to withdraw.
No, just destroy it.
Don't underestimate them, or you'll end up dead.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Good morning. Ready for combat operation.
Alright, welcome to the game.
After about half an hour of cutscenes.
As far as I remember, the narrative is quite heavy. we're actually going to have to change some settings now because we didn't change settings before. Though I won't do it yet. Well, we won't do it yet because if everybody would like to notice how beautiful the game looks, this is practically as good as the HD remake.
Yeah.
In visuals, and this is, as we usually clarify, this is running on an emulator. Unfortunately, the system that we've got the emulator on right now can't exactly handle some of the stuff in hardware. So we're going to quickly switch over to software, and you'll get a better idea of how it actually looked like on the PS2. And as you can tell, apart from it being a little choppier,
It's still a little bit more pixelated, that's it.
it's not much different.
Not a lot.
So yeah, of course, you start off with a bit of narration. You
A bit.
a bit of narration. You get tutorials, and I don't mind the tutorials so much. I just wish that they actually integrated it into the game world rather than it being separate.
I was just thinking before, you can really tell that this is an older Japanese game.
Oh, yeah.
Just by the fact that you're first introduced to the female character in this game with a boob shot.
I mean, she's not showing any cleavage, but I don't know if the Japanese version actually has that or not. Regardless, I've played this game before and you've not.
I have not played this game at all.
He's had a little bit of a go.
Well, tiny quick go during a test run.
But yeah, it's basically semi-adventure, go and attack these things, go collect these things, continue on with the narrative. Which is, as far as I remember, pretty much all PS2 games.
Yeah, so it's majority just a slasher, then cutscene, then slasher. Then
Pretty
cutscene,
much.
Yeah.
Although for all you Metal Gear fans would like to know, this game is actually developed by one of the designers from Konami. I believe it might have been It's That Time Again, or I Just
Where
Forget.
you forget names.
Yes. I wanted to say Toriyama, but he's Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I don't remember. He's the guy who made Metal Gear.
Well, if they're Metal Gear fans,
Yeah.
then
I do apologize.
No.
I have played
No,
Metal Gear
no.
before. But yeah, all its visuals are basically inspired by Metal Gear.
right?
In fact, I'd say a lot of this game is inspired very heavily from a mixture between Gundam and a little bit of Dragon Ball Z.
It does have a very Gundam look to it, visually.
We might have slowed down.
It's just a kid. I can take care of him even without weapons.
I repeat, evacuate now.
Just gonna circle each other.
Other things to do, don't you?
You embarrassed me this time, so look forward to the next time. See you again, boy.
She's so condescending.
Buttons in this game are all backwards.
For those who don't know, to ascend, it is triangle. To
Yep.
descend, it is X. To attack, square. Defend, R1, dash, R2. In fact,
Get this, guys. Circle to select and X to cancel. I mean, what the fuck?
well, like I've explained to you many times, it was the typical layout of Japanese games to have it that way.
That's no excuse.
Yeah. So, of the little that you've played and the little that you've seen, what's your thoughts?
Well, like I said, I only got about like 2 minutes of practicing to sort of have a quick go at this game. But if this is pretty much the majority of what the game actually is, including maybe with the exception of the very long cutscenes, it seems like the kind of game I could get into. Maybe not get deeply invested into, but like just have a good, fun couple of hours kind of slashing people with it.
I think the best times I've had with this game is just putting on my own music and just going ham on all the enemies.
That's the kind of thing this game is made for, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
Custom music and...
Are you going to finish that sentence?
Yeah. Some point. The Megatron ore.
There ain't no Optimus around here.
That's all I'm gonna hear when playing this, is just Megatron ore.
As long as they don't start talking about Energon, I think we're okay.
Well, no shit.
I think our AI Ada might be slightly more crap, what's the word? Condescending in comparison to our antagonist.
Well, I don't know about that.
I don't know, she's speaking really slowly towards us.
I should know I did this one thing in the test run.
You did.
We have obtained the program. We have obtained the flying mode module. It allows us to
Mode
move to
module.
other areas
Yes.
by choosing
Jet mode.
from the command menu.
Jet. Every button is correct. Apart from... actually, no. I can't even say that. Because the ascend descend. I wouldn't know how to remap this game. Unless you put the ascend and descend on the triggers.
Well, when you go through binding, just flip your X to your circle.
That's true, that's true.
We are entering residential.
We're entering residential. That's all we need to know.
Spotting our letters.
And immediately, after the tutorial, boss fight.
That's the old Japanese games for you. It's very heavy on the boss fights.
Oh yeah.
I detect no human activity.
You mean everyone is dead?
That is a possibility.
Oh yes, that's a thing. There are actually missions in this game where you're not supposed to destroy the buildings. In
Well,
fact,
too late
protect
for that.
them.
Too late now.
True, true.
Alright,
Oh.
so I actually asked you this back during the test run. I pointed out that the world was misshapen.
Yes.
Pointed out that you'd explain that to me during the look back.
Yeah. The world's the way it is because we're on a space colony essentially.
Right.
I don't remember all the lore because it's been a long time. But essentially, the world is on the outside of a ring,
Okay.
and to simulate gravity, they spin the ring.
Yeah. That makes
So
sense.
it works by centrifugal forces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is actually quite possible if we find
He
the
doesn't
right
think
materials.
so.
Oh! This kid is this. Actually, in comparison to another anime that's about mechs, this kid is far better because there's an anime called, I don't know if you've seen it, Evangelion.
No.
I'm not dead yet.
Imagine a kid well, it's different circumstances because this kid's just basically happened across the mech. But in Evangelion, a teenager around about like 16-ish is brought to basically a science research place and is given a mech.
Right.
And this kid, throughout the whole arc of the story, is a how do I? He's a pansy.
Right.
He's unconfident. He's self-conscious. He has depression, and he's like that throughout the whole anime.
Okay.
I'm not a kid.
He's a really hard character, extremely hard character for me personally to like, because he's so depressing. I think I've had the choice. I will always pick. I think his name's Leo. I think his name's Leo. I will always pick Leo over that character.
So it's just like little to no development with that character.
Pretty much. So if I remember correctly also, I believe, apart from the Viola and one other, all the boss fights are big boss fights. They're all over the top.
Well, what else would you expect from a game like this?
Indeed.
Yes.
There's some anime tropes in this, but, you know, Japanese game.
Plus, I mean, he's got to go OTT, you know? Like,
yeah.
You've seen his face, right? There's one ugly mother.
I keep imagining this boss that I'm fighting as something from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something along those lines. Maybe Sonic X. I'll just wait here and turn Super Mech.
You think it'd be by this point that they'll learn to try something different to catch you by surprise?
Oh yeah. The starting boss is pretty basic, but it gets rather complex later on. If I'm remembering correctly, of course. Darn. And also, a fair warning to the peoples who haven't quite caught on. Yeah, the game isn't meant to run this slow. Darn, come on. You will die! That's my line. I'll just be right in front
Pardon
of
me,
you.
mate.
Hey, there you go. There you go. Take your medicine. Alright. Oh, yes. And all the mechs, as far as I remember, literally have a cockpit.
Alright.
As far as I remember, if you didn't catch on already.
But can't transform into jets. Or planes
Not
of any
quite.
kind.
Not quite.
Occupants are still alive. I am releasing the lock-on cursor. Target will be destroyed.
Okay.
Why? They can't fight anymore.
Your question does not compute. Why not destroy it?
Why should I kill when there's no reason to?
I compute 17 clear reasons for such action. Most pressingly,
You're not gonna list them all, are you?
the target gaining
No.
access to another orbital frame and returning to battle at another time and place.
Shut up! I refuse to destroy. What's the point of attacking those who have no intention of attacking us?
Do you wish me to state the reason?
Don't bother.
I have to conclude that your reaction is extremely illogical. Illogical actions by persons without sufficient capabilities make it very difficult to fulfill the mission.
You mean I'm not good enough to do this, so I should just shut up and obey orders?
That is the most sensible course.
So you
Charming.
Target approaching limit of our range. 2 seconds remaining.
You may speak like a human, but you're still a heartless computer, aren't you?
That is correct. What is the problem?
nothing. Forget it.
Alright, guys. We'll be right back with our retrospective.
Radio guys, see you in a bit.
So,
Yeah.
so what are the enders?
Yes. Well, I'll give a couple of brief thoughts on it then, since this is really my first time experiencing the game. In all honesty, it's sort of difficult to figure out where my head's at with this game right now, because we've only really done a very small section of the game, and as you're saying, it gets a lot more complicated, and especially with the boss fights later on down the line of the game. So I'm just... For the opening section, it looks like it could be pretty fun. If it's the majority of the game, which is pretty much just flying around, slashing, zipping around the different sectors of the game, it looks like it could be a lot of fun. I think right now, the only thing I didn't find myself very interested in was like the story cutscenes. So the gameplay wise, I was enjoying that very much. I was enjoying playing that. I was enjoying watching it. But the actual story cutscenes themselves, I was still dragged on a bit too long. Didn't really interest us very much. But that's just me not having much of a connection with the lore and the world of that game.
Well, I mean, again, it's technically early days here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's if you do come back to the game, I do encourage you to listen to the story and what it has to say. It's got some cheesy stuff in there, but for the characters and just going throughout the story and learning how these characters interact with each other and stuff, it's got some pretty deep stuff behind it. It's got some, I wouldn't say tear-jerking stuff, but certainly pulls at the heartstrings at some points. Stuff that we didn't get to, which would be like multiplayer. There is actually multiplayer. It's basically just a 2-player battle thing. It's a very small thing, and you can choose different frames.
Right.
What else did we get? We didn't really get to any of the sub-weapons, which range from anything as small as, I'm trying to think now, like a javelin, essentially, to, and I'm not kidding, like a giant fusion cannon that you can charge.
Okay.
So it does get pretty over the top. I think you have to go and find the fusion cannon and stuff. But yeah, that's other stuff to unlock.
You mentioned that the single player campaign has a multiplayer element to it. What?
Yes,
Do you want to elaborate
technically
on
it does, because you have to have a single player game in order to access the multiplayer, which is, like I said before, just a 2-player battle system.
Right. Yeah.
So kind of like a Mortal Kombat, but it's mixed with a Gundam Wing kind of deal.
Okay.
It's the same combat that you get from the enemies,
Yeah.
but it's just against another person.
Okay. Cool stuff. Well, we actually have talked, and we've actually got like a new rating system thing that we're going to be doing for this stuff now. It's very simple routine. Basically, if we like the game, we're going to give it a right. If we dislike the game,
Yeah.
if we don't like the game, or we don't think it holds up to like today's standards and all that, we're going to go left on it. And if we're not entirely sure what we're thinking, it's going to be a straightforward diagonal.
Straightforward diagonal.
So I'll put mine out right now. I think from the experience I've had with the game so far, I think if I was just to look at it story-wise, I'd be very tempted to put it on the left, just because I wasn't invested in the story of the game whatsoever. But hearing you talk about it, hearing that it does actually get quite deep if you try and get yourself invested in it, and that the gameplay, which I already enjoyed from the little bit I've tried, gets a lot more over the top. I'm interested to check out more of the game, and I think that's a game doing what it should be doing, is making you want to come back again and play it more and more and more. So I was swaying between whether or not I was going to have to give it a left or a diagonal, but I've been swayed over to a right.
Yeah. I'd certainly recommend this to anybody who just enjoys a good mech action game.
Yeah.
You've got classic powers in there, like a charge beam eventually. It's practically a spirit ball or bomb, rather. The boss battles are pretty much as you've seen. And Viola is your let's see how can I put this in a way that's not spoilery. She's not your end main antagonist kind of deal, but she does make returns. I'd call her. I'd call her the equivalent to Jessie from Pokemon, if she was a little bit more malicious. But yeah, it lives up to what I've played before. Even if it was a little bit slower during recording, I still enjoy the game. I really do, and I wish that I got on PS3 when I could. I give it a right. I always will give it a right. I do agree with the story being a little bit slow, but I think that just comes into knowing the story more and then getting invested.
And to be fair,
way.
ignoring all of that, just in terms of wasting a few hours for yourself and just playing a slasher game, it's a fantastic way just to pass a bit of time. Which, even if for a game like this, it might not matter so much if you're not invested with the story, because the gameplay kind of makes up for it with that, where you can just lose track of time just sort of flying around the place and slashing a bunch of robots or mech suits or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah. Right, guys.
Yeah.
That's our thoughts on that.
Give us your direction in which you would go with this game.
And give us a direction.
Yes.
Like, dislike, hit that subscribe button if you wouldn't mind. It would do a lot for it, actually.
And if you'd like to see a little bit more on the end, there is a second one.
So let me know, guys. All the buttons.
All the buttons.
See you next time.
Even the belly button.